Hi, lower school. We want to tell you a story about a young boy who grew into a great man by learning what it means to be a peacemaker and to stand for justice.
Martin Luther King Jr. grew up in Georgia back in the days when your great-grandparents were kids.
Like many kids, he loved to play baseball with his friends. Sometimes the other boys would argue over whose team Martin would play on.
Was he that good?
Yes, he was that good. But when they argued, guess who would be a peacemaker?
Martin.
Yes, he would tell his friends that his father said they shouldn't argue like that, and he would help resolve the issue. Martin's father was a pastor at Ebenezer Baptist Church and taught Martin and his siblings that we must love our neighbors as ourselves, whether young or old, rich or poor, black or white.
Martin was certainly good at doing that on the baseball field. I wonder if he thought he would end up following in his father's footsteps.
I'm not sure, but we know he would come to be known around the world as the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., civil rights leader, preacher, author, and peacemaker.
He had a lot of lessons to learn before that.
He sure did. Because of laws called Jim Crow laws, Martin and other people who looked like him were not treated fairly in many public places. The family of one of the boys that he played baseball with owned a store near Martin's house. Martin was not allowed to use the front door because of the color of his skin, and sometimes the store owners were rude to his mother. Martin felt that this was not fair. How was this loving our neighbors as ourselves? He worked all of his life to change those Jim Crow laws.
He studied at Morehouse College and Boston University. He organized people and equipped them to speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves. He spoke about justice and preached about love.
Yes, and he led peaceful protests, and met with President Kennedy and President Johnson to talk about changing the laws so that all people would be treated fairly, no matter what they looked like.
There's a word for that.
Justice. Justice is being fair to all people, no matter where they came from or what they look like.
After years of being a peacemaker, the Reverend Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. would speak about justice in front of more than 250,000 people at the Lincoln Memorial in Washington, D.C.
He went through a lot to stand for justice.
Yes, and he inspired people around the world to do the same.
Does he inspire you to stand for justice?
Yes, he does, especially through these words from one of his speeches. The time is always right to do what is right.
Hi, lower school. Do you know someone who makes sure that people are treated fairly? Think about it. Talk with your teacher or your parents about it. Most of all, keep working hard to be a peacemaker and someone who stands for justice.